Hey everybody, Trisha Turner here with another episode of Anything But Average, Achieving Success in Life. Coming to you guys at a little bit different time than normal because I have some awesome guests with me this morning. Everybody is awesome, but Chuck and Angela Fazio have a story that you guys have to hear. It's Sunday. Traditionally, I would be in church, but of course, because of this coronavirus, we can't. And so we're having to do church in our homes. And so I thought, what better message to share with you guys than a real message of faith and how God shows his grace and his mercy. And we just have to trust in him. So I want to welcome Chuck and Angela Fazio today. Welcome, you guys.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you, Trish.
You're so welcome. I want you guys to share a little bit about where you are in the United States, kind of what led you up to here, what you do for a living, and then let's go into your backstory, please.
Sure. We have two different kind of stories. So they lead together. Right now we are in Arizona, right outside of Phoenix and Chandler. And that's what we've called home.
For a long time.
Yeah, since 98, end of 98.
I moved here for the first time in 91.
Wow, a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we love it here. It's like paradise. So,
it really is.
Yeah.
I've lived all over the United States, and by far, this is my favorite place.
Now, Chuck, before going to Arizona, where were you?
I lived in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Illinois,
just take out
Iowa, North Carolina, Florida, Colorado.
Do you know why she's been in so many places?
Why?
I'm gonna make something up right now.
Because she was looking for me.
Where did she find you?
Here. In Arizona.
Yeah.
And Chuck, what led you to Arizona?
So, yeah, anyway, she was looking for love in all the wrong places. Right? Is there a song like that?
Yes.
Oh my God. That's the flavor of today's podcast.
I love it.
Sunday morning. I'm delirious already. No.
That's okay.
Yeah. So I just lived in New York most of my life. Like I said, till end of 98. And gosh, I was what, 30 something.
You were a young little guy then.
I was a young whippersnapper. So I never thought I'd leave New York. You know, most New Yorkers don't ever think about moving out of there. That's usually not a thought. And if they do, it's usually they're going down to Florida, staying on the East Coast. So never had intentions of moving to Arizona or out of there, but didn't realize God had a plan. And I didn't even know it was God's plan. I didn't even know
who God is. Yeah.
So, but it's cool when you look back and you see there's a purpose for everything. So
tell everybody, if you don't mind, what you were doing in New York prior to getting to know God, prior to real estate. What was your life like?
My life was hell. So, so a little background. When I was 17, 18 years old, I got a job bouncing at a club, and it was my first taste of nightlife. And my joke always is I got paid to pick up girls, drink beer, and get into fights. And what a great job that was. But little did I know that it was going to take me down a path of being involved with the wrong people, and you start to get brainwashed. And when I say brainwashed is when you're around the same thing over and over, day in and day out, that type of lifestyle becomes reality. And you don't see anything else. You think everybody lives that life for the most part. And so quickly, I got hooked up with mob-run clubs, strip clubs. They were new at the time. And when I say new, obviously not new being a strip club, but the concept that strip clubs were starting to be made glamorous. You know, they're no more seedy bars. These were multi-million-dollar nightclubs
Sure.
that they invested this money in, and they would pay the girls at first to come. So they would pick and choose which girls they want. And what I started to realize was that lifestyle attracted a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And it not only attracted the money, but it attracted the drugs, the violence. And the mob works in stuff that makes a lot of money and
Sure.
cash related. So that was the beginning of that journey I took. And at the time, I was married and I didn't have kids yet. So it wasn't really a good lifestyle for a married guy. Let's put it that
Probably
way.
not.
Yeah, I was raised Catholic, went to Catholic schools. I think so did Angela. We were both raised Catholic.
Mhm.
And nothing.
It's Italian. I mean,
It's what
Oh, yeah.
Italians do,
mhm.
especially New Yorkers. So nothing against, Catholicism, but you got to be careful that there is a difference between religion and a relationship. And obviously, I had no relationship. I checked off the box on Sunday because, your parents tell you to do that. It's how you're raised.
He said he would go to church just to see if there's any chicks to pick up.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's just like a lightning bolt's going to come down. But it was true. I mean, you look back and you find you start to realize the stupidity in the way you lived. So being raised Catholic, they said you had to go to church on Sundays or else you're going to hell.
Mm-hmm.
But now I look back, so here's what I did every Sunday. I would make sure I get there late because I didn't want to get there early.
Mm-hmm.
You got there late, and usually the church was packed, so you stood in the back. And yeah, I didn't listen to anything, and I was trying to pick up girls.
And you always leave right after communion.
And then you leave right after communion. And
You had it down.
now you look back and you're like,
what was I doing?
What are you trying to prove?
Right.
And you realize, even as a young adult, the stupidity behind that thought process. It's like, did I really think that was doing anything? Like satisfying the wrath of God? And but yeah, and most of them do. It's
like
ritualistic.
It's like Joyce Meyer says, you can sit in your garage all day long, but it won't make you a car.
Yes, I love that. And it's so true.
So that was my life of who I was around. And day in, day out, I got caught more and more into that world. And we just lost you for a second. And that world is very dark and demonic. And I didn't know that at the time. And so you start to go down this downward spiral of you wanted more fame, you wanted more attention, you wanted more power, money. Then not only was I doing the drugs, I started selling the drugs. And because I'm like, wow, you can make a lot of money, and most of your clientele were right there in the club. And then you start to hang around a lot of celebrities. And, back then you get starstruck by, and I'm not going to name the celebrities I've been around, but it attracted a lot of them to those type of clubs. And, the backdoor entrance and, their own private rooms. And you start to become enamored with that. And it was hard. It was hard for me because here I am, was married at the time, not to not to Angela. And then I wound up having 2 kids, and I was living 2 lives. And
Or 16 lives.
Right.
Yeah, it was tough. Then I started doing some bodyguard work for adult film stars. I know you laugh when I use that word, adult film stars.
He only says that on camera.
And I've watched friends of mine get killed. There was fights all the time. I should have been dead 10 times over. I've had guns put to my head and knives and jumped and bottles smashed in my face. Been there, done it all, and here I thought that was a normal lifestyle, and did not know God. I did not care about people. I did not care about who I hurt. It was a power trip to constantly be ahead of the game, to who I could step over, to who I could manipulate, and it was almost a game for me. And I know some things I say to some. I'm going to say some things, and some people are going to go, "That's warped," but it's reality. It's who I am. The way I was able to manipulate and control was actually hands-on training for sales.
I
And I don't parallel to say sales is manipulation. So maybe people out there go, "What's he talking about?"
You're going to get emails.
So will I. Who cares? But here's, like I said, I talk strange sometimes. It made me use my brain. Like I'm always aware of my surroundings. I know how to be a chameleon in different situations, because you have to deal with different people at different stages, whether they're high, whether they're drunk, whether they're executive people, whether they're punks. In that environment, I dealt with everybody. So over the years of dealing with people, your mind becomes very sharp and in tune how to deal with situations and people. That I'm an incredible problem solver, because I used to have to solve problems quickly in my mind to save my life.
I bet.
So I was always 3-4 steps ahead of everybody. And it's one of those things that you become really sharp in when you're living in an environment that you have to fear for your life.
So now he's not a proponent of living that life in order to get sharp.
No.
The story leads to God for sure, and how he was preparing my husband to be just an amazing person after Christ.
It's all Christ.
Yeah.
So I live this lifestyle. You don't trust anybody. Some people who you think were your good friends, we're not. But that's life in general.
Sure.
And I did have a hit put out on me once, and we had to have a sit down, and it was just a big misunderstanding, is what it is. But it's the lifestyle I lived, and I was strung out. I would pass out at the wheel constantly during the day, at night. I must have passed out at the wheel at least a dozen times.
Wow.
Doing about 80, 90 miles an hour, and I'd wake up out of nowhere. Obviously, it was God, looking back, right before impact of a divider on a freeway.
Wow.
So many times.
Wow.
And it never once did it occur to me, you might say, "Oh, thank you, God." But, it's a figure of speech. But stuff like that happened a lot. And I was miserable. So when you chase material things and you chase power and money and fame, you realize you're chasing the wrong thing. You don't think that, but I was miserable. I mean, I was even far as I've been on TV, I've been on talk shows.
I have recordings. They're awesome.
Yeah. One of the funny ones is I was on Ricky Lake. So that
Oh my gosh, I remember that show.
I know. Right?
back in the day. Jenny Jones, Mark
Oh,
Wahlberg.
wow.
Yeah, because I was always seeking a fame lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And
He was Mr. April.
yeah.
Were you?
It's awesome.
Crazy.
I used to have long blonde hair.
Oh my God, it was awful.
Did you
Like
really?
the Lion King, like the
Oh
Lion King.
my gosh.
Why do you always go like that?
Because he like feathered it sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm getting a visual that I can't do it. I just can't see it.
Yeah.
I'll show you pictures.
Oh, please.
So yeah, that was my life. And I think one day, there was a lot of stuff. I mean, I could write a book and books and books. And, like, there are days I'll if I'm laying in bed at night, like can't sleep, my mind goes through my life. It's like I'm always reflecting. And the older I'm getting now, and the more Christ is in me, I think back and I go, because sometimes I always say I never want to fabricate anything. Because there's a lot of people, she included when she first met
I'm
me,
like,
she
I don't
goes,
believe you.
that can't be true. That
Prove
story can't be true. And I could prove almost every one
Literally,
of them.
he did. I was like, prove it. Then I'll believe you.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got a ton of stories.
Yeah, the joke is she married me for my stories.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Entertainment.
dating you for your stories.
Yeah.
I married you for a totally different reason.
And going back, I know I'm jumping around here, but I go back and I say, I think that's like the lifestyle of everyone. When I'm telling the stories, she's like, and I go, you never did that?
I was a school teacher. Tell me more.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, you're a dork.
I am a dork. I'm a total dork. I actually thought I was cool. Like, I actually thought I was cool till I met him. And I was like, wow, I'm not at all.
You had to level up, right?
Yeah. So my life was filled with one thing after another, day in, day out, for many years. I mean, so if you think about it, I've been in that lifestyle since 18, all the
20
way
years.
through my 30s,
Mhm.
early 30s.
Okay, I was going to ask you that.
Yeah.
That's quite a while.
Yeah. So anyway, I was talking about, so sometimes I'll lay and I reflect on my life, and I'll be honest, there are days I go, I can't even believe that's true. Like, am I making that up? Was that true? Was that true? And they're all true.
What do you think led you up to the point where you were like, I don't want to live like this anymore. I have to make a change. What happened to make you switch?
So that's a good question, and I do have the answer. So I was really big into selling drugs, and mostly to the dancers, and I dated them and what have you. And the owner of one of the clubs, who was my buddy, I mean, was my friend, he sensed that one of the girls was dealing drugs in the club. And he was pissed because he wanted a cut of it.
Sure.
But he didn't realize that I was involved with it. So he tried to set her up by marking bills and giving it to the other girls to go buy drugs from her. That he was going to grab her when she went to the dressing room and take her cash and prove she had the marked bills. You can't make this shit up. I mean, it's just...
No, you really can't.
So he's telling me, and remember, I'm the one fronting the drugs.
Sure.
So I grabbed her and I said, hey, listen, you're going to be set up. So here are the girls that have the marked bills. Don't take their money. Just basically give them the drugs for free. And they'll say that, it was a whole game. Remember, I'm always using my mind.
Right.
So he thought he had a debt to rights. At the end of the night, he grabbed the money and he lost it because there was no money marked, no bills. And like threw her out, and it was just like this whole ordeal. And I started to go, wow, what am I involved with here? What am I really involved with? then a few weeks later, it was like a Tuesday night. It was a slow night, and it was just me and one other bouncer there who he was actually I trained martial arts for many years, and this bouncer was actually one of my instructors, and we were good friends. And he was a New York City cop. So we're working in the club, and it was empty, and about 8 guys come in. No big deal, you know, but I sensed something, and I didn't say this yet, but looking back, one of the things, the gifts God has given me that I didn't know was a gift from God till after, is I could feel demonic spirits.
And you have a huge sense of discernment.
Huge sense.
Yeah.
And it was just a gift that God has given me. But at the time, I didn't know what that was. Like, I'm the type of person, I always knew when a fight would break out.
Wow.
Yeah, like the energy in the room changes.
Mm-hmm.
And God has given me this gift. I could feel it. And I know what they are now. I didn't know it then. It was just a feeling then. But it's the demonic spirits. I could feel demonic spirits.
Mm-hmm.
I could sense them. And when they came in, there was nothing out of the ordinary. But I said to my buddy, I said, something's going to happen. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's a slow night. And I go, something's going to happen. I could feel it. I could feel it in the air. And what happened was there was an altercation with one of the guys and the girl, and I had stepped in, and I swear till this day, you can't make this stuff up. And I'm looking at the guy, and I told my buddy, I go, just watch my back over here. And I'm looking at the guy, and he had 2 of his buddies behind him, but I could feel the presence of the demonic spirits behind me.
Wow.
And we were just talking, and then I don't know what possessed me, but I moved. And as I moved, the guy behind me was throwing a punch at me. He was trying to hit me from behind. Mm-hmm. And then my buddy grabbed him. And anyway, we got jumped by these 8 guys. And it was pretty violent. And so, but hey, you know, it's just all part of the night, and it was fun. At least it got the energy up that night. So here's the crazy part. Here's where I'm going with it. So my boss, who's my friend, the owner of the club, who's usually there every night, just happened he wasn't there, and he comes in, and I don't use names. So, and they said, hey, so-and-so, you wouldn't believe what happened. I go, we got jumped tonight. And he started laughing. And I go, what do you find so funny? He goes, yeah, I set you guys up. I paid those guys to go in there.
Wow.
And that's when it hit me. And I go, I've had a wife that really I wasn't a husband to. I had 2 kids I really wasn't a father to. And I said, I have to change my life. Mm-hmm. And so that was the beginning of the move to Arizona.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because he has a fantastic story. I never get tired of hearing the stories about his past because only God can pull somebody out of that. But the truth is everybody who doesn't know Christ has that same darkness, not the same circumstances. But I didn't know Christ, and I had a hole inside of me as big as God, right? Mm-hmm. And that only God could fill. And I tried to fill it in my own ways. The truth is without Christ, you have a darkness mm-hmm. or a lack of fulfillment that can't be fulfilled by anything, whether it's as a dramatic story as him or, you know, a rebellious, independent woman who thought she should control everything. I mean, right. There's all kinds of stories, but they're all beautiful because of the transformation that Christ mm-hmm. does when he takes a hold of us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I didn't know the Lord when I moved to Arizona. But my immediate family moved out here, and I moved out here with my ex-wife now, but my wife then, thinking that I was going to start my life over and maybe we'll make things work out. And it didn't go that way. I was still a degenerate. I wound up going back to working in a club.
Oh, wow.
Moved one of the dancers out here. I was a wretch. I was garbage. That's all I could say. It was garbage. And my brother had said to me, you need to find Jesus. And I was not one of those people looking for Jesus. I knew who Jesus was, but so does Satan.
Yes.
And so one day I was really at a low point, and there was a whole lot of stuff behind it. But my brother said, you need to come to one of my churches. And it was a non-denominational. And I had asked for God to show me signs, and he was sending me messages that I thought were a coincidence. But the long and the short of it is, I wound up going to his church. I felt the spirit. I thought people were crazy. I'm like, wow, look at all these Jesus freaks. I'm like, yeah. And but it was different than Catholic Church. People seemed alive,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so there was a sermon about God sending miracles, and people saying, well, why isn't there miracles like there were in Jesus' time? And that was the topic. And he was just talking. And he's up on the stage there, and I'm to the left in the front row sitting with my brother. And he's talking. And then he said, and as he was saying this, I am not kidding you, this is the craziest thing. He turned and he looked directly at me and pointed his finger at me. And he says, because when God sends you miracles, you chalk them up for a coincidence. I just started bawling. I felt the Spirit of God move. It was crazy.
But you didn't respond.
I didn't respond.
Because when I met him, that was sometime later, neither of us were saved when I met him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So had either of you gotten in real estate yet when you met?
So when I moved to Arizona, I got into real estate.
Okay.
And I never even owned real estate. I just said, I'm a hard worker and I want to make a lot of money. So I went to real estate school, cheated my way through that because
he totally did.
Yeah, I suck at. I'm a street kid. But I got my license and hung it at a Keller Williams. I was there for 2 years and I was broke. My dad used to say to me, "Go get a real job."
Oh my gosh, I'm sure so many people have heard that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I met him my very, very first day in real estate.
And so were you also at Keller Williams, Angela?
I joined Keller Williams.
Oh my gosh, that's too crazy.
Yeah, I was a bitter, angry, divorcing woman when I first started.
But beautiful. She's a beautiful woman.
She is beautiful.
She looked good.
I didn't even notice him. I did not want to notice anybody.
Yeah, she did. She noticed. She's like.
I actually didn't. I only noticed
she
when
couldn't take her eyes off of it.
Later. And still today, but.
So what made you guys form this dynamic team that y'all have together and grow to this incredible nation that you've grown to, this tribe of people? Lead us to that.
So when we first met, I didn't care for him at all. And I made it really abundantly clear. And I would say it was at least a couple months before we started dating. And even when we started dating, I was such a terrible person. I was like, don't you tell anyone we're dating.
Oh my gosh.
She did.
I did. I'm like, so we started dating, and then once I came to my senses, one of my girlfriends made me come to my senses. We actually formed.
We were sitting in a bar once with a bunch of real estate agents that were on the team, and I was walking past where she was sitting. She was sitting with another girl who knew me, and I think I was going to the bathroom or something. And the girl out loud.
He was probably peacocking, is what he
loud enough for me to hear, goes to Angela. She goes, "Would you ever date Chuck?" As I'm walking past. And she goes, "I only date smart guys."
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, you biatch.
I said terrible things to him before like terrible things to him.
I'll give you a smart guy.
Turns out he's
my gosh.
Turns out he's brilliant. So yeah, we ended up partnering up, and we were really broke together. I mean, really, really broke. We worked hard, but we didn't know what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're finally starting to, so that was in June or July.
Of what year?
2001.
Okay.
And we finally started to get some traction, and we had like 5 deals in escrow. And I was like, thank God, because we were so broke. We thought we were going to move in with his parents. And then all of a sudden we get these escrows in December, and we made the mistake of giving them all to this brand new lender who wanted our business. And the brand new lender didn't know what she was doing. They all fell out, all 5 of them.
Oh my gosh.
And so I remember, were we saved by then? I think so. Yeah, remember we were praying. Yes. Yeah, we had been saved by them, which is the coolest story.
Well, we were still baby Christians.
Baby Christians, yes. And so we were praying. I was like, we were praying in the backyard. I was like, oh my gosh, you think your parents will still let us move in? Because I had a son as well from my first marriage. And we just thought, that's it. Like, we thought we were making it. And then we just were broker than broke, if that's a thing. We were that.
We didn't know what we were going to do. But we prayed. God told us to move brokerages. We did. We actually went to a company that had no training, no support. And I'm like, God, are you sure? Because we don't know what we're doing. And basically it was, I don't know, maybe we're really radical.
We are.
The way we do everything. But when we seek God, he speaks to us.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I was one of them that used to make fun of people that go, oh, I'm going to wait for God to speak to me. And I'm like, what does he do? Talk to you?
Right.
And when you truly have the Spirit of God and you have a relationship, look, if somebody's out there right now and it's over your head, trust me, when I tell you God speaks to us, he opens and closes doors that you can't move from.
You can't explain it.
At least for us, because he knows our personality. So he told us, you're going to that company. And when we went, 2 other gals from the team we were on said, hey, we want to be on your team. We want to go into bid. I go, team? What the hell's a team?
We don't even know what we're doing.
No, I'm broke. And they're like, we just want to be around you guys.
Right.
Segue. God is so sweet. Like, there's in his word, he talks about how we were knit together in our mother's womb. Like, he were fearfully and wonderfully made. Like, we are the same person, but he's a boy, right? So, and God deals with us so specifically because we're drivers. We're super direct. We like the bottom line. And boy, does he give it to us. Like, sometimes he hits us over the head so hard with the 2x4, I
try to duck, so she gets
That's why my head is smaller.
So 2001, you guys are broke. And 5 deals that you lose. What happened?
God.
Well, we moved brokerages.
Okay.
And just started, because we had these 2 other girls that all of a sudden we felt responsible for, literally. And we were working day in, day out. We worked all day,
like crazy,
door knocked, open houses from 8 in the morning till 8 at night.
Yep.
And, you could say breaks started happening, but it was a combination of being blessed. And when you work, things happen. And we were working 7 days a week, nonstop. And but our team motto was, we walk by faith, not by sight.
I love that.
And we had that on all of our marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And probably within a few years.
Well, that year we did 12 million.
Yeah, as soon as that.
Really?
Yeah, we did 12 million the first year.
Mm-hmm. From broke to 12 million.
Yeah. 17.5 million the next year, 22 million, and then we jumped to 40 million.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was like.
And then the team started to gravitate. We didn't really recruit. People just wanted to be around us. And our team sold, I think it was 89 million.
The last year, 89 million.
What year was it that you started Revelation? Which was
the very end of 2005.
Okay.
Well, we started as a franchise office of the company that we were at. The company we were at it's a local company, but a big company. And out of 3,000 agents, we were their top producers. And we moved to a different part of the valley So we moved from Phoenix to Chandler, and it was kind of cow country. It wasn't built up then. And it was all a God thing because we were looking for a house. We're not looking there. I was showing houses one day, and I'm like, I think I found the perfect house because I don't want to live all the way over there. And we went there, we bought the house, and we said to the owner of the company, hey, why don't you put an office out there because I don't want to commute to the other space. And he said, why don't you build an office out there?
And we're like, okay.
Well, we prayed on it, and God kept opening doors. Here's something crazy. We dominated the area where we live. And it's about, back then, it was about a 25-minute difference from where we live now. Almost all of our business and our team's business was right in that location, $40 million worth. Soon as we moved, we didn't even prospect out there. All of a sudden, all of our business is right there.
Within 1 year.
You can't even explain it. We didn't prospect. We didn't market there. We didn't. It was all of a sudden people were calling us up and saying, hey, we're looking for a house. I'm like, great. And I go, where are you looking? And I'm like, wow, that's where we live.
Yeah.
Wow, that's where we live.
Yeah.
That's called favor, God's favor.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. You can't make that up.
No, it was awesome.
So this company did not realize how big we were going to grow. And we were literally their competition.
Wow.
And we were competing with the people we were paying. It was so toxic.
It was so bad.
Oh my gosh. There's days I wanted my old self to come out.
We're like, why are you recruiting our agents? Doesn't make sense.
Undercutting our numbers.
Yeah.
Because you knew you could because I got to pay you a fee.
Yeah.
Oh, it was horrible.
Wow. And God moved in a mighty way to allow us to get out of that franchise agreement because it was a 20-year agreement.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that was like Paul is walking out of the jail cells with the shackles
chains.
dropping.
It was nuts.
Everything's God. God had a plan for everything.
Absolutely.
He gave me my vision for the building that we're in 3 years before that building was even built. Like, I'm like, there's no way that's going to happen. God says it will happen. And
explain to everyone the size of your building, please.
So the building is 21,000 square feet. It has, I know. It has a full bar cafe. We have about 8 conference rooms, an event center, a game room, phone booths, fitness center, podcast, green screen room, esthetician.
Oh, wow.
It's a lifestyle. And a 7,000 square foot resort patio.
It's so pretty.
With a balcony and a full bar and a stage with the live band.
So I have heard from others that you use your building as a platform, like a ministry. Explain that a little bit, please.
Well, our motto that we do everything is Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another. Our building is a spirit-filled office.
Yep.
Look, we don't say you have to be a believer or a Christian. I got Muslims that work out of there, atheists, and we love on them. That's what Christ called us to do, is to love on people, and just be a good human being and show love. But you will not step into our office without feeling the love of Christ. And
we have scripture on our walls, and
we pray over our building, we pray over our staff, and it just makes us who we are. And it's sad in a way when people say to us who don't know the Lord, who don't know Jesus, and maybe even claim to be atheist and say, you guys are different. You're different Christians, because most of the Christians we know condemn us or put us down or say we're going to hell or whatever.
Or preach at us.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the God of the Bible. And it ain't for me to judge. It ain't for me to decide who's going to heaven or not. Now, if somebody asked me, well, if I don't know Jesus, am I going to heaven? No, you're not. And that's not me saying it.
Right.
It's
Right.
the word of God. And if I'm going to say I believe in the word of God, I got to believe every bit of it, which I do.
Mhm.
You know, I heard this story. I always love sharing this. Penn and Teller, they're the magicians in Las Vegas. I don't know if you know who they are.
I do.
So Penn is the bigger guy. And Penn said something many years ago that still rings in my mind that I really wish the world would get, but I also know there's spiritual warfare. Penn is not a believer. Matter of fact, Penn is an atheist.
Mhm.
And Penn said, and I don't know where this was quoted or what he said it on, but Penn said, it's amazing after almost every show, because they'll stand outside and people can take pictures with them. He goes, oh, Christians know I'm an atheist. And there's never fails that somebody would come up to him and talk about Jesus.
Sure.
And here's what Penn said. Penn goes, I'm flattered. He goes, I don't understand how people get so mad that if you don't believe in who Jesus is, and when somebody who believes who Jesus is and believes with all their heart, that's the Son of God, that's how you get to heaven. He goes, if they didn't tell me, how much could they possibly hate me? He goes, I don't believe in it. He goes, but why would that make me mad? Somebody's doing that because they care
Right.
that much about me.
Right.
Mhm. They're trying to help.
It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful to God that He waited to save me and my husband until we were older, because it makes it so much easier to have patience with God and His timing for people. You know, I was almost 30 and He was a lot older than that.
Now you're like 55.
I'm like,
You're almost 100.
so I'm just grateful because it gives us a whole nother perspective. It's never too late for anyone. So you just trust God and you trust His timing, and you know, try to take opportunities to talk about Him and tell your stories.
And then through all of your challenges, going from broke, you know, losing 5 deals and then look where you are now. So the last time we talked, I think you had 900 agents that you work with, correct?
Yes.
Built
Yeah.
the biggest independent brokerage.
So we Revelation was one of the largest independent brokerages in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we look back on it, and there's not a day that doesn't go by that I'm just blown away. I'm blown away and humbled by what God has done in our life.
Yep.
Look, we're two peons.
Yep.
We're no different from anybody else. We don't have some magical powers. We aren't. We didn't have a ton of money that we invested into this stuff. We didn't buy our business. It's the grace of God. I get to work with my best friend.
I love that.
And I think our other part of what we try to reach is we don't talk about real estate. Real estate's just a vehicle God gave us to really touch people's lives and to really understand that life is not about your job, your career, your relationships with your kids. Life is everything combined. There's no separation. And one of the things that we try to teach agents, and like I said, that's just the platform that God put us in, is look, if you don't have your life together, if you don't have your marriage together, your relationships together, you ain't going to have your business together.
No.
I always say the reason why me and her operate at such a high level, and it's a high level. I mean, think in our career, we've overseen almost 40,000 homes sold and $9 billion in production.
Amazing.
I mean, the only way we could do that is if this was rock solid.
Because of this.
Because of that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
now, with you guys, and I don't know if I've ever told you this, Chuck, but you were very instrumental in me moving my brokerage over to EXP, which is how I know you guys. And literally, I believe I have faith the size of a mountain, just like y'all do. And I believe that he puts people in your lives. He orchestrates everything.
Yep.
And when he put you in my life, it was to give me that clarity and that peace. And, I love you guys. I know without a shadow of a doubt, I could call you at any time, and because I have, and text you and be like, hey, I've texted you before and I've said, I'm weary. Can we call each other? Can I get on a call with you? And you're always right there. Yes, say when. And without having that in my life, because we as business owners, we go through challenges. And when you don't have other Christ like people in your life to walk you through areas when you are weary, it's a lonely place. And so I'm extremely grateful for my relationship with y'all. And I believe that God put you in my life. I know that.
For
100%.
sure.
Yeah, and which leads up to EXP Realty,
I know.
because you can't orchestrate something like this.
I know, seriously.
I'm like I said, I'm in awe by what God does, and I'm sad for people who go through life who never get to witness this living God that we serve, the creator of everything. Me and Angela go on, and I jump around. We go on daily walks every day. And we just
Date walks.
We call them date walks.
Aww.
She really calls them get the fat old guy off the chair and walk. I don't know who that guy is, but that's, I just go along for the walk.
Yes.
But we talk. We like to let people in on our life all the time. We're an open book. We talk about life and what God does, and just there's not a day that don't go by that we're in awe of creation.
How he loves on us.
And I'm baffled how blind, and I know God says it in the Bible, you're blind until I make you see. But how many people believe in we happen by accident?
I know.
When you really process a human being right down to everything, to emotions, how we're different than the rest of creation. It all says it in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
This is not, you have to try to figure out the answer. But we're truly amazed by how God orchestrates everything. So here's where I was going with it. I caught myself.
He always gets back to his point. I know.
Right. Reels him back in.
So I'm going to take you down a path right now. So bear with me, because this is some cool stuff.
Okay.
This is all God. So we're running our brokerage. We struggled at first. We almost went out of business.
In the beginning, yeah.
And we prayed about it. Something happened. I'm not going to get into all that detail. God answered the prayers. We took that leap of faith, and then all of a sudden, boom. It was just like an explosion for the company.
Yeah, every year got better and better and better.
So around 2006, 2007, we coach and mentor a lot of agents. And just, look, I don't know it all. I go what God says. And I never forget, for years, I would have team leaders. So I mentor team leaders. And they would always ask me this question, Chuck, if you were to do this all over again, what would you do? And I would say the same thing over and over. And I don't know
years.
What possessed me to say this, but for years, for over almost 15 years. I would say if I ever had to do it all over again, I would never own a real estate company. I would build the biggest team at another company that was capable of supporting what I want to do. And then I would always end it like this, and then I'd go, but that's never going to happen. There's
Right.
no company out there.
Right.
So for years, I would say this. When I was approached about 2.5 years ago about EXP, the part that made me think about it and say, wow, I think I might consider looking into that, was because my testimony about God has been featured on the 700 Club. So it's been televised all over the country.
Yep.
I've been on many podcasts that agents from all over the country would reach out to me all the time. It was amazing.
Mhm.
At least once a week, once every other week, I'd have somebody from a different state going, "Oh my gosh, I watched you on this podcast. I watched you on this TV show. How do I get around you? Do you coach a mentor out of state?
Open up Revelation
Yeah,
here.
when are you going to open up an
Right.
out of state?" And I'm like, "Never."
We can't.
And I couldn't even, and I'm like, I don't want to charge somebody. I'm not going to coach and mentor in another state. And for years that was happening. And then all of a sudden the CXP thing, and I said, wow, could this be that platform that God is saying, look, I don't want you to be in one office. You served my purpose there. I built you the biggest brokerage, one of the biggest brokers in the country. Now I want you to do my work outside of there. And that's what attracted me to EXP. But
Yeah, we didn't get rid of Revelation. I was at Revelation. He went to EXP.
yeah, and I said, well, let me give it a shot and see what this is like. I mean, we're successful.
And
Yeah.
and Revelation kept growing and growing and
Well,
growing.
And one of the things that took place, because I kept saying, that virtual stuff, look, I'm brick and mortar. It's like the polar opposite.
Uh-huh.
But really, it's not about brick and mortar and it's not about virtual. It's about relationships.
100%.
It's about connection. And connection doesn't always have to be physical.
No.
So one of the things that I never forget when I spoke to you the first time, and I said to Angela, I go, I'm starting to see the EXP thing, because that was still early on,
Mhm.
in
Oh,
the
yeah.
EXP. And I'm like, I just had this conversation with this woman out of Texas. She loves the Lord. And I go, I felt this connection. I go, I can't wait for you to talk to her and meet her. And that's what started this thing about
Like a little seed.
God going, this is why you're there. And obviously, fast forward, us closing down Revelation
At its
Literally.
peak.
at its peak, literally
Right.
closed it down.
Yeah.
I made not one penny. We took a $15 million company and basically closed the doors
Yeah.
to take a chance, because God said, you're going to build bigger, but this time you're taking people with you.
Yeah. That is the best part. That is the
But
best
you know
part.
what? And people out there, I know they don't know, because it was a private conversation that you and I had, where you shared, you know what, you felt separated from Angela, and God told you that together you are better, and that was why you did what you did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I believe that 100%, because it was like you felt this separation from working with your best friend and growing it together, and you couldn't be 100% committed if you were separated like that.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was beautiful.
And it was toxic because she
Not
couldn't.
toxic with us.
Oh, you got to get my power cord.
Oh, get it.
Go get my power cord.
Is it mine?
It was, no, Ange, it's the other one. It was toxic because she couldn't say things about EXP because she wasn't EXP.
Right.
And I had to watch what I said about Revelation, because, yeah, there were people out there, and me and you have had these conversations, that put a target on my back and were trying to sabotage me. And you put it right there. And it was sad.
Yep.
But, we look back and God had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, we were kind of separated. Believe me, I'm going to tell you, closing down the brokerage God blessed us with, our baby, was probably one of the most difficult
Decisions we've ever made.
in my life.
Yeah, we for 6 months we didn't sleep as we were realizing that God was having us in a different direction and giving us all the reasons.
And trying to weigh out, like I said, we're very transparent.
Yeah.
We were going, was that the dumbest thing we ever did? Is that the dumbest thing anybody could do? And then I said, I live my life for one reason. My why in life is to glorify God in everything I do. That is my why, period. If I'm going to put everything under that why, it can't be about money. It can't be about
comfort, yeah,
ego, because we were getting comfortable.
Oh, sure.
And I'm a very competitive person. And look, God created me. He knows I'm competitive. Here's what I'm going to do. There's a lot of naysayers out there that are laughing. They think they defeated me because they took a bunch of my agents. You know who's going to get the last laugh? Not me, God. Because we're going to prove we can take 2 peons, build one of the largest brokerages, crumble it, and then rebuild again something bigger and still giving him all the glory.
Right. Well, I mean, we had to process because we're human, but what we realize is if God's telling us to do this, and he gives us such a peace about shutting down what is essentially the biggest thing we've ever done in our lives.
Yes.
We're like, wait a minute, we didn't do it. God gave us revelation. God built revelation. If God's telling us to do something different and that we can bless more people by doing this different thing, who are we? I mean, who are we? You just do it. You do it and just trust that he's going to bless others through this. And I have a peace and he has a peace that surpasses all understanding. And we know that that's valid. I got goosebumps. I swear. I know that's because
That's I'm breathing on.
But you know what it boils down to is that what you just said there, you have to trust in him. And so when you don't trust in him, that's when the enemy can use you in ways that you shouldn't be used, but when you have a deep relationship with God, you hear him speak to you loud and clear. And when you block that out and you're not obedient, you will go down the wrong path and you'll go in doors that you shouldn't be going into. And when you have clarity like you do because of your relationship with God, you do feel at peace, even though it may be scary what you're about to do. He's telling you that you'll be okay and you have to trust him.
And one other thing, sorry, baby. One other thing.
Did you see her hit me? She just hit me.
I know, I'm fighting. One other thing that I feel compelled to say is just because you're following what God is telling you to do does not guarantee success in any certain way. It guarantees success, but maybe not the way that you envision it, but it guarantees success and it guarantees that fruit. Do you need I
gotta get my power cord too.
I talk too much.
I know, isn't that crazy? It's because I'm here at the lake house, and so I'm not plugged in right now, but I will be. Sorry about that, y'all.
Go.
We have such a message to share for everybody. That's why.
You're at a lake house?
I am. So this was another God thing. I wanted to open an office, another branch of us, another EXP office of ours in Austin, and because I like to be on the lake. That was in my 5-year plan. And I was going to open an office there and buy a lake house there. And about November of 2019, God said, no, actually, you're going to go to Cold Spring, Texas, which is an hour and 40 minutes from my house. And it's on Lake Livingston, which is one of the 3rd largest lakes in Texas. And this lady called me out of the blue to come and list her house in Cold Spring, Texas. And I'm like, okay. I'd only done one other deal here in my life, which was a year ago. And my special needs son, his best friend moved here to this community a year ago. And that's how I even found this. And they were best friends. They are best friends. And it was devastating to both of them to be separated. And so literally I came to look at this lady's house and I said, and God was just speaking to me the whole time. And I was like, I'm not going to list your house. I need to buy your house because it's a lake community. It's a gated community. It's absolutely beautiful. I can buy a house a lot cheaper here than I can in Austin. I can do it right now. They need a real estate office here like crazy. And the people here have been mistreated by the broker that's here. And my son could be reunited with his best friend. And we put it together, and it was challenging to get it all together because I wasn't ready, but he made a way where I did not see a way. And so I am here right now. We've been here. We closed on it, I think 60 days ago. We closed on our first real estate transaction here Friday. And it's just God just keeps opening up doors here because I listened to him and even though it was challenging and I didn't see a way, he made a way, you know?
Yeah.
So we are here at this lake house. Let me plug in real quick. It's just insane. It's beautiful. Hold on one second. I'm coming right back, y'all. Just moving around.
In the meantime,
Message from your sponsor.
we're gonna sing for you guys.
People are like, yes, you can't beat live Facebook Lives, you know? Okay, I'm coming right back. And so with us here, okay, now I'm back. Okay, here you guys. So that's why I'm usually in my office, or I'm usually at my house where I have all my cameras and everything set up, but we're doing these every day. And so I'm here live right here at the lake house. And it's just the greatest thing because my son is back with his best friend, and God has just made things that, I mean, in Austin, it would have taken me probably another 4 years to do it because lakefront property there is super expensive. Opening an office there is super expensive. The competition there is insane. I'm in Cold Spring, Texas. The town has like 800 people, y'all. Now, this community has 1,100 people in it, but most of them are second homes. And so it just opens up people that already live in Houston, but they come here for weekend getaways. It's a whole nother thing. But again, I'm not afraid of it. It's a funny thing. When this coronavirus came about, my dad, who's an old school person and can be negative, he said, boy, I bet you wish you wouldn't have bought that lake house now. And I said, well, no, actually, I'm like thrilled that I did, because if the coronavirus gets too bad in Houston, we're just going to go run to the lake house, and the town of 800 people, you know, where there's hardly anybody with it. Because my son, Justin, my special needs boy, is 19, and he was not supposed to live past 4. So he is only here by the grace of God. And so the coronavirus would be deadly to him if he was to get it, because he survives only on 25% lung capacity. So his lungs are destroyed. And so any lung disease ever could be terminal for him. And so we were, you know, of course, could have been afraid when the coronavirus came about, but I don't live by faith. I mean, I don't live by fear. I live by faith. And so I figured, you know, God has Justin here all this time when he should not have been. He's only here by the grace of God. There's no coronavirus that's going to take him out. It's when God says his time is done, his time is done, you know?
And then he goes home.
Yes. And so we don't live in fear here. You know, it's like we have to step out even when things get uncomfortable, just like you two just did with closing down one of the biggest brokerages in the country. And you did this EXP thing where there's all these other people going, what are you doing? But you're listening to what he's telling you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, the other amazing thing I tell people is we all die one day. I don't know why people don't grasp that.
No.
I know nobody really likes to talk about it, you know, but here's the fact: when you really understand it, and you're not preserving something that's going to last forever. And people go through their life thinking that. And we don't talk about throwing caution to the wind. I'm not saying go jump off a bridge and see if you survive it, or go walk in the freeway. But at the same time, they're walking as if they're preserving something. Look, you ain't preserving anything.
No.
So we're excited. We're excited about the future. It's getting to meet people like you.
Yep.
EXP, what it's doing is we've realized many years ago that we're different-minded people.
Yes.
And if somebody's not like-minded like us, it doesn't mean they're worse than us or any better than us. I mean, I just think they're stupid. No, I'm kidding. That was a joke.
They just haven't seen it yet, right?
My point is people gravitate towards like-minded people. And EXP attracts a certain type of people.
Yep.
And we are so excited
Yes.
about the people like yourself, Trish, and many others, that you're our family now.
Yep.
And we're going to grow to be something big. And if anybody's out there and they feel lost or lonely, or they don't know what direction to go in their business, or it's because of who you surround yourselves with.
It's true.
It's imperative. I teach this all the time. It's a scientific thing, not just a biblical concept. It's imperative to be around like-minded people. So if you're out there and you're struggling and you feel lost or hopeless, reach out to Trish.
Mm-hmm.
You become partners with Trish, you become partners with us.
Yep.
And that is what I love about this company.
We all do it together.
Yay!
You know what? I was on, we were doing these lives every day to help everybody during this Corona time, and where there's times of despair and people are feeling sad. And I was talking to Renee Velasquez yesterday, and right before we got on the live, I told her, I said, you know, I wouldn't know her without EXP. I wouldn't know y'all without it. And, you know, so many people can say otherwise, but it's like, that's the common denominator. And for that, I am eternally grateful for, because it's been one of the best things ever in my entire life. You know, how can you turn your back on something like that?
I don't know.
And it's like I said, it's just some people, they're wired differently.
Yes.
It's what it is.
It is.
And I tell everybody, it's just like prospecting. I'm out there just looking for people that are looking for me.
Yes.
And it's a numbers game.
It is.
And not everybody likes my cherub-like demeanor. But
I do.
I do.
But I will tell you, what this company has proven to me is you don't have to be in the same building as somebody to form a relationship. We got to form a relationship with you. And just for people out there, we've never met in person.
Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
we will.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And so that is the beauty of this. And we're excited about the future, and
Me too.
wherever it does.
Hey, tell everybody where they can find you guys.
No, I don't want to tell people where they can find me. We're
I'm
lonely.
sure people are like, I got to hear this story.
We're at some lake house in
Cold Spring, Texas, right? I'm only here on the weekends, y'all.
yeah.
I'm still back.
We're very easy to find. Just
Yeah.
Google us. And if you want, you can check out our page at the Iconic Power Couple. And you can even find our book, Mastering Your Real Estate Career, on Amazon.
And for anybody listening, I hand their book. I buy their book in bulk on Amazon because it's an amazing book. Everybody should read it, whether you're seasoned or new to real estate. But I have all of our new real estate agents read it because it shares your story. What did you do? You know, sitting in open houses all day long, stuff people don't want to do. Well, guess what? That's what you have to do. That's how you build a business. And look at you guys. You're a living example of where you've come from and where you are now. True testimony right there.
Thank you.
Y'all are so awesome. Thank you so much for being here today, you guys.
Of course.
Excited.
Thank you.
Go enjoy your house. You know what I'm going to be doing? I'm just letting you know.
We're
I'm going to be looking up that area.
Yeah.
I know we were both thinking that because we joke around because we're on a lake, but it's a man lake. I want to get a house that's on a lake.
These houses are amazing. We were out on the boat yesterday because this lake is so big. There's stuff we hadn't even seen. And we're like, holy crap, look at that house. I mean, amazing. Absolutely breathtaking.
And
yeah.
You could have gas-powered boats?
Oh, yes. Yeah, the lake is huge. We only saw a quarter of it yesterday. We were out there for hours. Yeah, it's huge. We went out to this island called Penny Island. It was the coolest thing ever. My kids were all with us. They had all their friends. It was super cool. So, and Memorial Weekend's coming up.
Out there that we could probably, do you know any good realtors out there that we could?
I can probably hook you guys up with a really good one.
Thanks.
I would love for y'all to check it out. You need to. Cold Spring, Texas. But don't just look up Cold Spring, Texas. Cape Royale is the community because that's the place you need to be. That's on the lake.
Okay.
Doing it.
Done.
You guys have an awesome day. I'm so glad y'all were with me today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trish.
Thanks for sharing your story.
Yes.
I am totally.
Bye, you guys.
God bless.
God bless you.